Right, so I was just taking off the cable reeler, which is so I can twist the whole unit around so you can actually see what's going on underneath. Yeah, so we've got the heater bed under there, so they're the two connections for the heater bed. So we've got the hot and the cold, and that's the sensor, which is underneath this aluminium strip, and I've got a slightly graunchy, so you can probably hear. I might actually change these bearings on this, because they're not actually very expensive. And I was watching a 3D Tom printing thing the other day, and he was changing bearings out, so they don't seem to be too difficult to change. So and they're only a couple of pounds each, so if you can hear that, does sound a bit raunchy. Also, I think actually the tension on the belt seems all right. Yeah, it's not too bad at all. Some people also put an extra support in to on this side to tension up the belt. They also put an additional side to that, so it doesn't flex down. But I think the tension's not too bad. I don't think I've ever had any issues with the belts and prints. I've never really had any. When it works, I get really good print quality, so I've never really had a problem with that. I just think it's probably due for a little bit of a TLC, because it's been used a lot, this printer, because although I do a lot of hobby stuff, I also use it for work as well, printing stuff. So it has been pretty much used for about 10 months solidly, so I think it's done quite well for itself, really. These are the various cables inside. As you can see, they're just going to the stepper motors, and they just plug in. So these are standard stepper motors, so I don't think I'm going to have too much problem plugging everything up to my main to the new motherboard. Just put that back on there. You can see I've done a few mods to this in the past. I put the struts on just to give it a bit of stiffness, but again, hasn't been too bad. I have had a new whole motor drive on there, but I'm thinking I may have not needed to do it, actually, because I do think the motherboard was partly the problem I was having with filament jams, because it was just irregularly heating the actual extrude, you know, the hot end. I wasn't getting enough power, probably. It was fluctuating. So this is, again, I'm going to give it a clean and then re-oil it. Probably do with a bit of tightening up, actually. That's probably the loosest. So I'm just going to mount the fan unit in my box. I've just had to make a slightly larger notch to get the cable through. These isolating rubber standoffs just clip in or pull in. That's the easy bit. Now you've got to try and mount them in. If I remember, the fan faces goes that way around, so they will just sit in. Pull through. So they just sit in there. Sorry, I get it on the camera properly. So you've got the back of them on there, and they will slot through. Sorry, it's difficult to get on the camera, actually. They just sit inside on the lower level, and you can if you pull them through with a pair of pliers, they pop in. So that is compressed on rubber, basically, that one. Now these the inner of this particular print or this design, this fan is slightly sitting proud So when I put the board on there, I'm going to have to bring the board off it slightly. Now it sits slightly proud, but that's not going to be a problem. I'll just bring that very slightly up. I've got the height. I've still got height in the box, so I'm all right. Okay, and that's going to go this way around. So let's connect that. No, I'm about. You probably can't see inside there, but I'm about 5mm above those two power connectors, so that's good. So that's all working. Okay, well, I'm not going to put that in just yet, but I did want to put the fan in. Okay, well, I'm sort of making progress. I've fitted the motherboard box on the left hand side as you're looking at it, which you can see there. And I think that works. I want to keep the slots at the bottom, so these cables, which I'm going to put in sleeving in a minute, will come up through there, and I can lose a bit in there, I suppose, and bring it up across the board, which sits across there. The network cable will plug in the back. I've moved it. I'll show you actually. I moved on the side here. You can see I've just put it up. Well above this connection here, which is the connection for the stop. Just show you inside the lower stop there, which you adjust if you're going to put a different height board on. And I've actually got a different height board, because when I bought the printer, I went out and bought the glass top, which I've never used, but I've actually got. So I might try it out. And it also came with a spare cover, which again has just been sitting, muck on it. A spare surface. So that's the original. That is a little bit scratched, but it's not bad though. So I can always put that on, but they don't look that easy to stick on. So I might do that. Or I might also, I've seen you can now buy copies of the original Prusa Mark III, Mark II board. They're with the built-in sensors. So they're not coming from Prusa, but they're coming from a company, I haven't got it in front of me, but I saw on the internet, who are making copies of them. And they've got the I've got it here. You can see that's the Prusa board. Create some space, but this has got the sensor points there. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 9 sensing points built in for the little sensor, and as I said, there's now clones of that board being made, but I might not buy it. But it's something to look at, because it might be quite interesting to actually do that, to see if I can do this. Put the sensor on the sensor, which the height level, the mesh level sensor they call it, that's used on the Prusa. Build it onto my. I'll just swing back to my other one. I've drilled through very carefully on the frame and made sure I didn't hit the steel bar. Oh, also I'd forgotten to put on the little grill for the back of the fan, which I put back on again. So I just took that fan apart and slotted that in, so that's in there. So I've just got enough depth in there, so I've got a bolt going through and a nut on there. I'm going to put a bit of nut lock on there, because obviously I don't want that falling out inside the mechanism. So I'll tighten it when I've finished. I won't do that just yet. So that seems to be okay on that side. The next one will be the power supply, which is going to go. We're going to mount on here, but it might actually just line straight up onto existing nuts. So I could go ahead and mount that and print the cover later, and just set that off with a wash. At least I can see how that will fit on there. So I think all that's sort of coming together.